Silvia, you are so inspiring, so extremely inspiring, and kudos to your resilience and your power and your energy. I heard from several people in the meantime having an experience with ayahuasca. A friend of mine called her the mother. So it seems to be a very powerful experience.
Well, actually, I'm glad that you're bringing it up because I just recently took myself, I just got back from Peru. I went there for the first, I went to the jungle for the first time because I wanted to do another ayahuasca experience since I had the last time I did it was 16 years ago. And there was a part of me, as I've been talking more of it, I kind of wanted to figure out, okay, what has changed? And oh my God, Nikki, I went in, imagining like, okay, well, let me go say thank you to the mother, to the plant. Oh, the plant was like, yeah, whatever. I don't need you to say thank you. Bam! For the 5 days that I was there, oh my God, it was the cleansing of my soul. And it was, I don't think I need to do it for a while. I think, if anything, I want to be able to start bringing people to create these powerful circles for people who are interested and curious, because it is incredibly transformative. It is, I was so glad to have had the journey, to have learned about the power and the insight that it can give us. But yeah, it definitely was very unexpected. And who knows, I have this idea of maybe making a Disney film one day about the Amazonian plants. And so, we'll see. I have the film that we're working on. We have a Broadway play that we're going to try to put together, and hopefully I can eventually get into a Disney part of it.
It definitely will have the most interesting Hollywood celebrity actors if it's about the mother of drugs.
Oh, it's going to be something. We'll make it something. But now I'm hoping this is the opportunity for all of us to talk. I mean, I went nonstop talking, and I would love to hear from all of you, please. I mean, it's a very crazy, unique story. So, but I know all of us have a crazy,
And
unique story.
and in the meantime, Johan and Navid, I hope I pronounced your name correctly, have joined us. Maybe it's a good opportunity to introduce yourself briefly to Silvia. Navid, are you around? Or maybe Johan first. Johan is video on, so Johan in the car. And now Michi is not in the car anymore, and Johan is in the car. Looks like the same car.
Yes. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Silvia. Wonderful story. Thank you so much. I'm from the Netherlands, and I was listening to your presentation while driving, and it completely put me in a state of, I think, meditation, kind of inner reflection, because I was trying to find, also in my life, connections and where I want to go to, which is like a drive. You drive on the highway, but you need to know where you go. So it was really inspirational in pushing me in that direction. So thank you so much.
Oh, and thank you, Johan. I forgot to mention, we just sold the Dutch rights, and the Dutch team is so excited for us to launch the book next year.
Oh, really?
I'll
Nice.
be doing a tour in the Netherlands. I have a very special story with the Netherlands. I visited quite a bit, so I can't wait.
Then you can also visit our Rotary Club, and we can help you in the tour, by the way.
Well, that would be fantastic. Let's stay in touch. I think with Nikki, it would be incredible.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
And good to see you, Johan. Navid, are you there? Can you say hello? Or maybe Mario, you're a friend of Navid. I don't know if you can introduce your friends.
Yeah, actually, I'm Navid. Can you hear us? Maybe you're muted. But yeah, I brought Navid to our round today. He's a passionate networker. He works at the NDH, which is the Network Development Hub, a global organization which is really about bringing the right people together. And therefore, I thought he could be a very, very good fit to join EXO, because he's also passionate about bringing same mindset people together. And some of us had the meeting yesterday where we were talking about the purpose and the core about EXO, and it's about connecting people all over the world, crossing border lines. And therefore I'm happy that he's here, even he's isn't talking right now. So Navid, I hope you can hear us.
And where is Navid based from?
Actually, he's in Austria,
Oh, cool.
but he has a very strong connection to Dubai and UAE. And he's kind of a connection officer between the different countries to bring technology into Dubai and also into other states, and also bring, of course, money and ecological sources from Dubai to the European countries, which is a very great task, I think. Yeah. And actually, if I'm informed right, he also starts to get some connections in the area of Ethiopia to develop further projects there, because they really need the help from First World, of course. All in all, he's a very cool and smart guy.
So wonderful to have you, Navid, and you can hear us. Welcome to EXO One. Great to have you among us. Silvia, you mentioned the Courageous Girls, and I'm curious to hear a little about your work. What do you do with these women, and what's the profile of these women, and how long do you interact with them?
Yeah, actually, we have been working, and especially when I had my bike accident, and it, everything kind of took a little backseat. And the first, we did about 3 different treks to the base of Everest, and the first group of women became a little bit of trekking guides, and we started training some of them to kind of start expanding and start leading trips. And then the pandemic hit, so we had to put a little bit of a break. But right now in Nepal, we're expanding the program. We just got the funding to start working with about 125 young women. And so our dream is to develop a little bit of a leadership academy, more than a trekking academy, actually allow people just healing in nature, the powers that it can give you to find yourself, to really get to know the strength and courage that you have inside. And so with my Nepali partners, that's going to be the focus over there. In Peru, I've been working over the last 6 years with a group of young women, about 21 young women who had been sexually molested in their elementary school. And when I found the news, I had just returned from Everest, and I felt that, the family, they were from a very remote village, also close to where my father was from. They were ready to pull their daughters out of school, get them working on the farm. And I said, just, let's do a little, give me the chance, let me pay for their schooling, let me get them through the education, because education is empowerment. And so we just completed high school, and now we're in the process of going to college. And it is my way of kind of changing the narrative. Now, ironically, as you guys, if you get a chance to read my story, you will see that I went to a very small school in Pennsylvania called Millersville. At the time, used to be in the heart of the Amish country. And they just recently asked me to go back and give the commencement, and I was given an honorary doctorate. So I skipped the master's. I'm now Dr. Silvia. I still will have to eventually see how I get a master's. But actually I'm in conversation with them, because I'm going to start an exchange master's program. I'm going to start bringing people. Ideally, I'll eventually bring my girls, but I'm actually going to start bringing, I'm going to focus on education and social work. So I'm going to start bringing teachers from Peru to do a master's in international education for 2 years, and being able to go back to Peru to work for 4 years to revolutionize the state of our current education, that especially in remote places is really bad. And so kind of I'm expanding the idea of Courageous Girls, that our motto, which is like my little shirt that I have, is not just healing with nature, but empowerment with education. So I'm actually getting into that aspect and see where we'll start. But yeah, it's very exciting. Here in the US, still this is a little bit more complex, and trying to see some ideas, but definitely my hands are a little full with some of these 2 projects.
I've invited Kat to join us here on the hot seat, because I feel a strong connection with your story and what Kat is doing, and how Kat is sensitive towards indigenous people and the environment and the world. So I don't know, maybe you'd like to share something with us, Kat.
Thanks, Silvia. Your story is beyond inspiring. Thoughts. How do you follow the pulse of the pivots that you've made in your life? And how do you maintain the level of personal peace during these chaotic times? And then finally, regarding your project of bringing educational transformation to Peru, how will you do that? Is there sufficient internet connectivity?
Awesome. Okay, so let me see if I can get the 3 questions. Number 1 is, can you repeat the first one, please?
Yeah, how do you follow the pulse of pivot?
Yes, how do I follow the pulse of pivot? I will tell you, it's taken me a long time to surrender. That's something that I have learned from my mountain experience. This weird word that in my head used to be very weak. Like, why would you surrender? Especially in Spanish, you know, we always associated surrender with the white flag. And luckily, the way that I have had my experience with mountains have shown me that I can never conquer them. That if anything, they're going to be in existence longer than I would ever be. That I'm this tiny, like minuscule person who is just visiting them. So for me, which I talk heavily on the book, my journey with nature has been something of a reverence. And in turn, it's given me the chance to, especially with all of my expeditions, I used to be sober, and now I'm 4 years sober. But in all of my expeditions, it forced me to be sober, to be present, because that was the only way to embrace danger, to really, and embrace danger, embrace the good days, embrace the bad days, the days that I felt I was going to die. I mean, and so it allowed me to have a powerful reconnection that I couldn't do on a regular day-to-day being in a normal world. And so I would say that what keeps me checked in the pulse has been this notion of surrendering to life, surrendering to what it is presented to us, accepting what it comes to us. Because if we're able to touch into our hearts, if we're able to touch into the pulse of life, as bad as the situation feels, the sun will come out. We will overcome it. I mean, on the book, I don't want to give too much away, but I kind of went a little bit of a summary, but I talk openly about just how hard it was and about some of the most horrible moments. And it hasn't been an easy read. I love how I think the German team, well, maybe it's because the first language that I've seen it, they've been very straightforward, and they put a little sticker saying like, warning, this can trigger heavy emotions, because I hadn't held back. I was open, raw. I talked about my worst moments of vulnerability. And so, connecting to the first question, I think surrendering has allowed me to stay present, to be able to check in with the pulse of life. To your number 2 aspect, what has kept me going afloat? What cured my sobriety? And I want to be careful with saying cure, but what has kept me sober up to now was the opportunity of practice this powerful meditation called compassion cultivation training. It's called CCT, and I can send Nikki the link to it. But there were these incredible classes that a dear friend of mine suggested, a neurosurgeon friend of mine suggested for me to take it. And it was the very first time in my life that I learned the meaning of what it meant to give myself self-compassion. That changed the plot. I had always been so compassionate to others. I used to hide my addiction by being compassionate to others. I felt that if I was able to give, then you know what, eventually I could find my own healing. But these classes, and I took about 4 of them afterwards, literally completely shaped my life. They were the most incredible opportunities to just come at peace with myself. And this is a practice that I do daily. And so self-compassion has kept me grounded, has kept me going, and has kept me inspired. And to your third question about bringing the girls, actually, I'm going to be bringing the girls here to the US to do their masters, and then going back and actually bringing that knowledge to help us trying to revolutionize the schooling. However, because this idea just came out recently, 6 weeks ago, I'm also in conversation in Peru to see if we can create a small foundation that is able to go, that will be able to support for the knowledge being brought back. Totally new. It's pretty much, I don't know if for any of you who has been to Peru, the word cuy, guinea pig, is very popular. So this is massively guinea pig experience. But yeah, this is actually what I'm, I'm on a new journey, and we'll see what's going to happen.
So the way that you're getting your master's is by bringing master's programs to Peruvian women in the United States to return back to Peru. Knowledge.
Yes,
Which
absolutely.
College, which
It's called
college?
it's Millersville University in Lancaster, in Pennsylvania.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love it. It all started with a silly idea that I wanted to have people from Peru come and go through what I went through. So, but it now kind of got refined into something more meaningful. But it is exciting, and it just came to me. It just made sense, and I'm like, why not? Let's do it. And so I hope that answered your questions.
Silvia, we're getting close to the top of the hour. I have one more question, because your story is not only a story of resilience and vulnerability, it's also a story of extremes. Yes. And I've met Nick Vujicic once in my life, the guy who doesn't have any limbs, and he was on the stage without any limbs, and he says, "I'm lucky," and everyone in the room had full body, and he was the one that I am lucky. And I feel like people who went through extremes see things others don't. And that's very fueling. And I wonder, what is your relationship with extremes? How do you feel when you're in a situation of extremes? Is it something that gives you consciousness in the moment, or do you just like survive and get out of it and then look back and see how I can, hero's journey, like share something with the world out of this?
I think there's a connection. I mean, I think because things kind of from the start had been very difficult for me, and the time of trauma, which I kind of shared it in great detail in the book, the darkness and all the different things. I think it almost felt, I felt I lived in the darkness for so long that there was a part like, if I ever get to see the light, I am just going to try to live life. And I feel that, to me, at least, the time in nature and in extreme nature, I think being in extreme nature and being hit, like, you get so much push with fear that there is a point and in which, there's almost like fear of death. And you're like, especially, I don't want to die. So I think that influences a little bit the way that you see things. I know, and especially through this journey of writing the book, the fear of failure. I mean, even in my corporate life, I played it conservatively because I was afraid of disappointment. And with the book journey, I learned, like, this is, you put your life out there, and when people are telling you no, and doors are getting closed in your face, you're like, oh my God, this is like the worst fear that you can have. It's like so many of us keep ourselves small, and we're like, well, what if other people laugh at you? And here I am in a massive platform, people laughing at me. But what I have learned is that, yeah, there are going to be bad days, there are going to be horrible feelings, yet they don't stay. And they are going to open lessons for us for reinvention. They're going to, just as we are feeling we're getting pushed, if the purpose is out there, right, things will open up. And that's something maybe I forgot to mention quickly. From the beginning, when I was writing the book, I knew, and I had this big purpose statement in my life, in which I said, I wasn't writing the book for my ego. I was writing the book because I knew the story was going to, I was hopeful that the story at least was going to touch one person who they will feel like, okay, I'm not alone. And so I was incredibly purposeful when it came to sharing, to trying to bring the story out. And so one of the lessons that I have learned, even within extremes, when we are trying to follow with something, if it comes from a place of heart and purpose, the doors will open up. I am 100% certain of it. And just to wrap it up very quickly, if I can have a quick minute, but when I did that crazy vision of writing my book, I sketched out a little, this is the drawing that I sketched out. It had a little bit of a mountain, and it was called the Inner Mountain. And I just dreamed it, like, if I open up a book, if I write a book, blah, 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 it's going to be like that. Well, unbeknown to me, when the UK cover came out, the designer pretty much read my mind and brought up that same sketch that I originally had written. And what it is crazy is that on the book, there is just the side of a little girl, which I had drawn. I also said, like, one day maybe my book will become a film, so that he included pretty much a combination of both. But what it is, the craziest thing is that on the book, he has, which is on the German cover, he has the little girl with a red backpack. I never told anyone that the backpack color that I took to the top of Everest was red. So, you know, I mean, talking about purpose, talking about like whenever you just act from your heart, the magic of things happen. So yeah, for any extremes, we all have it in us. It is just our ability to be open, to be able to walk to that uncomfortable spot. And I can tell you, if it's coming from a place of purpose in the heart, things would always happen.
And that's a beautiful closing word. Silvia, you make the world a better place. You have so much beauty from inside and also from outside. I am so oh, I double clicked something here. I'm so grateful for your time and your story, and you give me so many goosebumps. I need someone to rub off all my goosebumps now.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I just put my email, please. I'm on LinkedIn. Stay in touch. I love traveling. I actually have been traveling quite a bit, and you know, please stay in touch. I mean, this is an honor to be in front of all of you. It's been very selfish that I had the chance to just make it on one side, but this world is small. You know, we're all interconnected. And Nikki, you put this together. Thank you so much. And yeah, I mean, thank you so much for this. And I hope it's not the last time I'm ever in touch with any of you.